Now then, welcome to another video. We're going to be working on the 5 series a little bit today, but I want to use this video to tell you about what this year is going to look like. I'll give you the vision, which is currently between my ears a little bit, of what this year is going to hold, right? It's going to be vastly different to the past 3 years where this channel has just been motorsport, racing, motorsport, which I've been loving doing. But if you remember, towards the end of last year, just didn't find it that fulfilling, and I was a bit like, well, what am I going to do? My age starts with a 3 now, and I'm looking around thinking, what's happening? I'm a bit almost feeling lost with life a little bit, and I thought, well, what can I do to try and you know, obviously on camera I'm having a good time and all that, but quite a lot of the times I'm not really having a good time. I'm just kind of living, which is obviously, you know, life's what happens when you're busy making plans, right? Who said that? Was it, I don't know, someone from the Northwest, I think, said that. But what I want to do this year is gain some life experiences and ultimately bring you along with me. I'm going to be trying to travel a little bit. Yeah, we're going to be going on the Big Metal Birds, which is something I've never been that interested in. I've never been one of them that thinks, oh, I've got to, you know, go and work on the farms in Australia, or, you know, I want to go around on a bicycle in Vietnam, or, you know, go to America and see stuff. You can see it on YouTube these days, you don't need to, but no, honestly, right, we're going to try and go and get some of these life experiences and try and find a little bit of fulfillment in life. Okay, that's going to be this year, and it's starting with, let me tell you, just before we get on with the car, I'll tell you some more about what else might be happening, but it's starting with something quite cool, right? So I was trying to think of something that I could do which is kind of similar to what I've already been doing, things that I enjoy doing, but doing it somewhere else, right? So what we're going to be starting by doing, I've just had the car confirmed last week, right? So it's all getting very real now. I need to book flights, I need to sort
accommodation out, because we're going to be racing an EK9 Type R, this EK9 Type R in Japan. This is one of Zero Fighter's rental cars. Now this race series is a Honda race series. It's a bit similar to what we've been doing, you know, with the racing the EG, but it's a little bit different. We'll tell you more about it when we get there maybe. But the bottom line is, right, the title, the headline, I will be racing a Civic in Japan. And that's going to be in 4 weeks. And I've not booked the flights or the accommodation or anything yet, and it's all getting very real. And I just wanted to do a video talking about it, and certainly, you know, just casting the initial kind of line out to say this year is going to be different. And we're starting by doing something kind of similar, but in Japan, right? Now, what's going to lead on from that? I don't know. I've got a few ideas. We need to get on with this. I'm going to carry on telling you about what the future might hold. We'll see, right? I don't know what's going to happen, but this year needs to be different for me. I know a lot of you have really enjoyed what I've done so far, and a lot of you, especially on the Patreon, are supporting me to keep living this motorsport life and seeing how high I can go. Well, I'm going to take a step back this year, and that's for me. I could keep going. We could enter the hot hatch again. We could try and win it again. You know, we could try and finally win an MR2 race. That'd be nice. I just don't feel like this year's that year. And I still will be trying to do the odd bit of motorsport in the UK for sure. But my focus, what I'm focused on, is doing things outside of the UK, outside of my comfort zone, get some life experience, and hopefully get some, you know, contentment and fulfillment, and, you know, just some smiles. I mean, I'm happy talking to you about it now because I'm feeling good about what the future might hold. But the future can only manifest if we do it, right? And it's all becoming very real. So let's get on with this, and yeah, let me tell you some more about what some more of my plans are and what more might happen, right? What more might happen? Ultimately, I guess what we could say is we're going to take this show on the road. Yeah? This show right here. Not this one, unfortunately, but we'll get her in a nice state. What have I got?
I've got some anti-roll bar drop links. I hope you watched my video working on this, because I spent not just so much time working on it, but editing it as well. English is important. I'm trying to speak more clearer. Anyway, the first video went up last week and a lot of people liked it. I'm currently editing the second video and I'm finding it so dull to edit, but people might like it. So I'm going to post it anyway. And then the finale, that was such a slug. But the final piece of the puzzle, because there's only one thing still rattling on the front end, and it's these drop links. So in this video, we're going to get these on. So let's begin. What a tune to start.
To the town of our free road is strange to us.
I'm sure I don't have to explain the allure of Japan to anyone, right? To Japan, right? Well, you can all assume, you know, it's all wacky and daft, right? We've all seen Takeshi's Castle, right? What's it actually going to be like? I don't know, but there's a few countries on the provisional list, right? There's three main ones. Actually, three main ones, I don't know if that's right, but there's certainly three countries. The first three countries that come to mind, obviously, Japan. I'd love to go to Japan and just see it, right? But I'm not going to just sightsee and oh, look how mad Tokyo is, look at all these people. I could do that at London, I could do that at Hull, right? A lot of people in Hull. We've got to do some driving things, right? It's going to be all about the cars. All about the cars and the circuits. There's a few circuits in Japan that I'd love to drive. To Tsukuba, is it? The Gran Turismo legend. If I can somehow get myself on a track day, which apparently I can. I mean, throughout doing this YouTube thing for a few years now, I've got a few contacts and there's a few people in Japan who hopefully we'll meet when we get over there who are so far provisionally quite keen to you know, help me visualize this dream of doing certain things over there. But the other two countries, other than Japan, what do you think? America would be a good one, but America I feel like would be a trip on its own. Like, America's huge, right? There's so much we can do in America, but is it really going to be too dissimilar to what we're doing now, America? I'm sure I could have a lot of fun in America. In Australia, the same, I feel is similar to this. I'm sure I could have a lot of fun in Australia, right? But I don't feel like it's going to be too different to what I'm doing now. Maybe it will. I've heard people say that the American culture, although they speak the same language, apparently the Americans are nothing like British people, right? And British people's a bit, you know, in this modern day, British people's a bit, you know, people don't really like us that much, do they? There's a lot of jokes about how we're perceived in the world, so maybe I'm wrong on that one. But anyway, I'm waffling a little bit. Ireland, believe it or not, Ireland is one of the three countries that I want to visit. More than America, more than Australia. Now, that's probably the easiest one as well, but we're going to start in Japan. Japan, Ireland. What's the third one that's interesting? Well, think about what we've been doing lately. What have we been doing lately? We've been acquiring licenses to drive. You have to turn the ratchet the right way if you want to loosen it. We've been acquiring licenses to drive vehicles off of roads, haven't we? On the gravels and things. Well, another thing that I'd like to try is doing some driving on the snow and ice. And where's a good country to do that? It shares a border with Russia. Finland. I'd like to go Finland. I think that'd be a good one. Yeah. I'd like to obviously engage you in the comments, and if you're from any of the places that I mentioned and you know of a thing happening and a car that you might let me drive, or you might know someone who can rent me a car, please do let me know. Let me know in the comments or send me an email or anything. I'm pretty open to anything really, but those three countries, for some reason, when I started thinking about where could I go, I thought Japan, Ireland and Finland, I thought they were a nice selection, right? Japan, Ireland and Finland, right? Maybe. And then obviously America is a big one, but I feel like that's a trip on its own, isn't it? That's something that I'd love to go. One of the main things why I'd like to go to America is to go to like Home Depot and places like that, you know, the shops where they sell tools. That'd be nice, yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah, anyway, everything's all up in the air. The only thing that's, like this Japan thing's kind of semi-official now. I've had the car confirmed, it's happening, so we need to start planning. Now another way I'm going to try and get some income from my fans, such as yourself. So merchandise, such as this, did some merchandise through that Teespring for a while, and it was okay for a while, but once the B word got into full flow, you know, the B word, the good old British B word, which I don't want to start an argument about, but once that got into full flow, Teespring just wasn't profitable anymore. And even when some of my hoodies were listed for £40 each, £40 plus shipping and everything, it was about £45 delivered for a hoodie, which I know it's about in the middle of what some people, I felt like it was too much, right? And still, even then, I was making £5 maybe. So there's been a plan for a while to sort the merchandise out, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, that is a bit further along. But hello from Japan. No merch. I'm going to work on it. If you're a designer and you want to work with me, send me an email. I just need to get someone engaged. I'll just go on Fiverr and find someone, but pending. But I'm in Japan, as you can tell. No, I'm going to be doing my own merch in-house, but it's going to be in the house of Darkside. They're going to be looking after it. So yeah, I know my merch game was weak last year, right? I didn't release anything new. A few of you still bought some things throughout the year, so thanks for that, but I mean, it was pretty weak. We released a hat, which was quite popular. The Let Cars Ruin Your Life, that was a good one, but I've had a few ideas for stuff, and you know, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I want to have that option though. I want to have something that people can, you know, get something physical back for, because you know the Patreon and all that's good, but if you buy a hoodie or you buy a sticker or whatever, then you know you get something, you get to support me and you get something out of it, right? And I'd like to get that going properly this year, so keep an eye out for that. Maybe, hopefully by the time you're watching this, Darkside have been really good. They've almost a year ago now we made the initial plans, and I had a meeting with them a few months ago, and they're waiting for me. I want to be clear about how I want to start, how I want to launch this new site. I've already taken Teespring down, that's done now, I've finished it off. But I want to be clear about how the new store looks, and it's going to be, the new website is going to be a website which will be a store, but I'm going to use it as a blog as well, especially when I'm out traveling and stuff, and maybe a home for some live streams and stuff as well. Who knows, right? Who knows? But what I'm trying to get to is this year should be very different, or will be very different. I can't remember if I've changed these on the car before, but these ones have the red clip around the boot, which is what all of these heavy parts have, which we spoke about before, whether or not is this Febi brand, where does it sit? Is it a cheap brand? Is it a premium brand? It's somewhere down that scale, isn't it? And I guess these parts don't last forever, but I'd like to say I've always had good luck with them. But it's turning out that I'm actually replacing a lot of the parts, which I believe I would have fitted this. I believe it was me. Can't be sure though, but yeah. Oh, look what the cat dragged in. Just been telling the internet about my grand plans.
Oh yeah, which ones?
You know.
Oh, The grand plans.
The grand plans.
It's not the grand plans for this.
No, this is obviously a grand plan on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Congrats.
Yeah.
Have you actually written anything down yet?
No, I've not booked anything yet. I do need to book some stuff. I do have a spreadsheet, but only for what backpacks I'm going to buy.
Fantastic.
I got about 10 backpacks that I'm looking at.
More time invested into backpacks than plane tickets.
Yeah, I had a quick look at plane tickets. There's a lot of options to get there, so let's not worry about it.
Respect.
Yeah.
What are you doing on this?
Just changing the drop links.
I'm looking major.
Hopefully the last thing. Hopefully it'll stop rattling now. Hungry?
I have. Have you had tea?
I have, but it was a small tea.
Fuck's sake. What have you had?
Some chicken and rice and broccoli, you know.
Full meal then.
You know, just a little bit.
You wanted to it?
Ah,
Like a fucking side dish.
well, I was just wondering if you were going to order, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, I've not had any tea. So.
Oh, well, no rush, is there?
Oh. Cool. Ordered 99 minutes wait time.
What?
99 minutes.
Well,
They're fucking slow, aren't they? Cooks needed £12 per hour, 2 to 3 days a week. 4 till 10 if you fancy it.
not bad, yeah.
I could see you cooking up some handmade parmos and that.
I'd be a good chef, mate. Just some more ideas and thoughts about what else I might do this year in the realms of the vehicles that you see. So you're seeing my MR2 video. You know, I started getting that back together and I was thinking, what am I going to do with this car? Am I going to race it? I'd like to race it again before making it into a rally car, right? That's the plan for that. But what about the rest of the cars? What about, you know, what about this one? That's a sad state, isn't it? I do have a plan, right? And maybe this, the big news I think from all of this is maybe not me thinking about traveling, right? It's me reducing the amount of hours that I work on my main job, right? If that starts becoming my side job and my YouTube starts becoming my main job, then what does the future have in store, right? I'm not going to start pretending like I'm going to have the Integra sorted out in a few weeks, but I do have a plan for it, and it kind of... But I do have a plan for it, but that stems from having a plan for the Civic. And again, it's related to rallying. So what does rallying have to do with the Civic, and how does that end up with the Integra becoming more of a car again? Well, rallying classes, the classes of rallying, the way that the cars are separated in, you know, competitive classes, right? You know what I mean? You know, like on Forza, A, B, C, D. You know what I mean, right? The performance index, it's not as modern, let's say, as some of the racing that I've been doing in the Civic, where it's split out from brake horsepower per ton. In rallying, they still tend to organise the cars in engine sizes, right? And one of the classes has an engine size limit, it has a drivetrain limit of two-wheel drive, but an engine size limit of 1600. And from that, I've had the idea, and I've got quite fond of this idea as well, of putting a B16, a 1600 back in the EG. A 1600, a B16 EG is in many ways more of an appetizing prospect than a B18 Integra. You know, they both kind of start with that engine, but the B16's the OG, right? And it'll fit so well into that class. And the idea of having a screaming B16 with a short ratio box, to me, sounds pretty good, man. Like, I'm liking the idea of doing that. But how does that then help the Integra? Well, we've got a spare K24, gearbox, exhaust, engine loom, harness, EC. That needs to go somewhere, right? And a lot of that came from the Integra anyway, so, you know. So, yeah, I think that's a nice plan. B16 EG rally car, and then keep the DC2 built for some circuit racing and track days and stuff. And maybe some Nürburgring, who knows. Let's talk about the Nürburgring. So, the Nürburgring. Some of you might be thinking, where does that fit in with my plans, right? Because we're building this M3 to be the blue M3, right? So we've got a plan for the MR2, sort of, and a plan for the other two. So the Jap cars are sorted. Where does that leave the Germans? Well, this one, obviously, is, you know, going nowhere. But where does that leave? I mean, let's focus on the blue M3, because that was going to be a car to take to the Nürburgring and go as fast as what we can, right? And I still want to do that 100%. But I've had a slightly different idea for the M3, and this kind of follows something that Kevin's doing this year. Kevin, Blue DC5 man, is racing in a championship, the Racing Hondas Championship, right? And that, you might have seen that before Christmas. They were advertising free entry for a full season if you committed to a full season. Obviously, a lot of people went into that, and Kevin was accepted, so that's good. Nice one, Kevin. Well done for getting accepted. Now, I wasn't too keen on entering, partly because of how I felt about, you know, not really feeling fulfilled. I know I keep saying that, but you know, take a drink every time I say fulfilled. But I wasn't keen on entering because of that. But also, this racing series is part of Time Attack, right? And Time Attack, if you don't know what it is, of course you know what it is. It's, you know, you go to a circuit and you go as fast as what you can. And Josh did it that one time, and we learned a bit more about Time Attack, and we found that there's a lot of silly rules, and, you know, it's more a bit of fun than it is a competition, really. I think in this country, it looks like a lot of fun, right? But I don't think it's as, you know, it's not World Time Attack like you see in Australia, right? There's a lot of serious cars in the UK, but there's not a lot of competition for those cars. They kind of stand alone, and I know there is a bit, but a lot of people do Time Attack in the UK for a bit of fun. And Kevin's Racing Hondas rounds follow Time Attack. So what I thought might be fun for the Blue M3 would be to enter Time Attack and do the odd round of that. So we'll develop the car, but it'll be track time at some of my favourite circuits where we can just fucking send the car flat out, right? We're not in a race, we're not against anyone but ourselves. I think that'll be fun, right? And Darkside are doing it this year as well, and they're RS3, and we'll be racing against them, or we'll be against the clock against them with Time Attack rules, you know. But that's another idea for this year, which again, if suddenly the YouTube and all of this becomes my main focus in life, which I'm leaning towards saying it probably looking like it might just maybe will do, right? If that does happen, then hopefully I'll have time to attack the time as well, right? So will we be going to the Nürburgring this year? Maybe, but it's not a priority. I would quite like to spend a year there, maybe. I kind of feel like the tourist days and all that, I mean, I don't know. This is going to sound very rich coming from me, someone who, you know, got a bit of notoriety, a bit of fame, let's say, from Nürburgring antics, but it just seems like it's full of fannies, right? The car park, I mean, I've not been last year or whatever, but from what I hear from people who are still going regularly, I mean, the traffic situation on tourist days, and it just doesn't look like it'll be that much fun, right? Obviously, being at the Nürburgring, it's got to be fun, right? It's going to be a good time. But I'm only really having a good time if I'm driving, which sounds not quite selfish, maybe just a bit weird, right? But that's where I'm looking at when I'm looking at Japan, Finland, and Ireland, rallying. You know, when I'm looking at all these different places, I'm looking at how I can go and drive. And Nürburgring seems like a tricky one to go and have fun driving there, right? It'll make good trips and good vlogs, so, you know, it's still definitely on the cards for something to do. Maybe just something to do with mates, but another thing is, a lot of my mates aren't that interested anymore. Now, the ultimate goal
with the Nürburgring would be to go and race. Let's go and race the Nürburgring. You'll have seen Broadbent doing that this year with Misha and Super GT. You'll have seen them doing it. They look like they're having fun, don't they? But they're in some posh factory, you know, they've got a full team behind them. What about if we try and race the Nürburgring my way, you know? Try and find a barn somewhere to set the car up. I've got a dream of having some kind of like old, you know, like an E36 or something, you know, RCN stuff, nothing too competitive, but to race the Nürburgring, I think that's more, when I think of the Nürburgring these days, I don't think about going and doing tourist laps, you know, to try and get under 8 minutes or whatever. As much fun as that is, that's more like track day territory these days. And even track days are, you know, they're popular, right? Which is good, but I think when I'm looking at circuits these days, I'm looking at them for perhaps the wrong reasons, because I'm just looking at wanting to go fast, and that's why I think time attack might actually, in the end, time attack might actually be a good thing for us to do, because we're going to be in a position where the whole intent of being there is to go as fast as what we can against the clock. Sounds pretty good, right? So yeah, no immediate Nürburgring plans, but I am considering attacking the time. And if they want to do a time attack round at the Nürburgring, I'll be there, mate. Yeah, straight up. So yeah, it goes without saying that I'm not entering any race championships this year. As I said in the MR2 video, I would like to do MR2s at Cadwell. That's in July, which, you know, I might not be in the country for. Imagine that. Crazy, right? But if I am, I would like to do the Cadwell Park round. And there's a road sports round there as well. So maybe we have one final send of the Civic before stripping it down to put it into the Integra. Click. How much noise are you gonna make? Yeah. You nearly done? Do you need a help? Oh, what's all this? What's all this?
Racking.
Fucking hell, you've got a right sweat on. No wonder you...
Because you're used to...
Why don't you just ask me and I'll come and help you? Shut up.
Some of us have to
I'm there trying to make a motion picture. Right.
put it in the file.
This is nice. Where'd you get this from?
Sweet.
Yeah? Was it just one rack or is it same as that? Had to replace that, is it?
A bit of both.
Okay, what, is there some racking going?
No, you can't have your racking. There is more for sale there.
Yeah?
I like keeping for myself.
How much?
Another day,
How much was this?
150 quid.
Really? That's not bad. But with no, what are these?
They're all fucked.
Right.
I don't really want to take them, but he's making them.
Oh, really? They alright, are they?
No, these are fucked.
They look deep.
1.2 deep.
Good. I feel like I want to fucking people's elbow onto it.
It's sports entertainment today. Oh, the people's elbow!
Right, I've assisted in the noise. There should be no more noise. Nearly done here, to be fair, but there's probably a few more things that I can waffle on about if you're interested. I mean, we've covered most bases. We know what's going to happen. Well, we've got an idea of what might happen with most of the cars, and this may finally be the year. I'm not going to try and make any promises about that, but you know, I've owned that car for it'll be 12 years this year. I've owned the Integra, so crazy, man, right? Fucking crazy, yeah. And of course, for the bulk of its life, it's been off the road, and I've bought different engines for it in that time. Like the other day, you know, I showed you the new Recaro that I bought for it, the third different seat I've bought for it, and the car's not even had a running engine in it for how long? Obviously the engine is running in other things now, but I think that'll be a nice plan. So we'll still keep the K24, and we'll still hopefully be doing some competition, competizione, or whatever the Italianos call it, some nice driving in the Integra to come, right? I do have some
plans for the black M3 as well. Let me just start by saying, should not have bought that car. Should not have bought that car, right? Shouldn't have bought that car, but here we are, right? I would like to take the money from that car and use it to have some fun in some other cars. There's a few cars which I'd like to kind of own before I die things. I wouldn't call them dream cars. I mean, the E46 M3 for me is the dream car. I think you can only have one dream car. I know it's common in YouTubers to have about 10, but your dream car is your dream car, right? And I achieved that in 2017. I've owned the blue one 7 years now. Crazy, huh? Time's flying, man. But there's a few other cars. There's one very high at the top, which is very almost, I might even call it a dream car on the videos, and it's an E60 M5. I'd love to own one, and I think it'd make great content. I mean, I'm speaking lots of hyperbole going on in this video, right? But that's something nice. And it all, again, comes down to, like, the big part of this video is standing down a lot of what my life has been predominantly for the past 15 years and, you know, making the side job, the fun, the hobby, making the YouTube the life. So I feel like I'm in a good position with where the channel is now, with the support I'm getting off people. Hopefully that'll continue into the future. I can understand if people don't want to be a part of, you know, whatever else happens, but I feel like it's a good time. It's a kind of now or never thing to do, and I should do it, I think. But I'm going to do it. So you're welcome to join me. But let's see what happens. Let's finish this. So I feel like we've covered most bases, right? There's going to be some change coming, and I think it'll be for the better. It's a bit selfish, kind of, because, well, I don't think it is. I'm really trying to focus on myself this year, but also I've said for a while that I'd have a year where I try and grow the channel, right? Because although all the support, I feel like I've got a real good support, and I'm really grateful for those of you who've been around for a few years now and, you know, really do enjoy what I put out. But there's not really been that much growth. And I've always kind of just made videos about stuff that I was probably going to do anyway, right? Racing, etc. You know, I wanted to do that anyway. And I do want to go, you know, traveling about and doing some fun stuff. And, you know, I do want to do that, but I do also think it might be good for the channel. It might open me up to new markets, and who knows what the future might hold. I think America will be a good one for that. YouTube channels in America seem to, you know, I know there's a lot of them, but they have a good time over there, don't they? And of course, there's a few creators around the world that I'd like to link up with. So hopefully now I can put a wheel on and feel zero play in the front end. Everything's new now. We've got all the arms are new, the, you know, springs are 50% new. We've got new from the top. We've got new. Is he making noise again? New top mount bearings, new dampers, new control arms, both of them. And now we've got new drop links. So hopefully no more rattly front ends. So I hope you're excited. I'm quite excited. Got nervous the other night for the first time. So I've been thinking about something like this for a while. Making plans, you know, in my head. Obviously not booked anything yet, really, apart from the race car. That's the only thing that's booked so far. But yeah, the other night I was sat editing a video or something, and yeah, I actually got nervous a little bit for the first time, because I'm a pretty anxious person generally. Like lately, for some reason, ever since doing this YouTube stuff, I've got even worse with it. Especially the past 3 years when it's been, you know, intense
It's been 3 years now that I've been treating the YouTube as a business. Or it will be, it's very nearly 3 years that I've been doing this, you know, as a business, to try and fund the racing and whatever. And in that time, doing like normal people stuff. I mean, still feels like something's not happening. It might just be the steering rack getting loose, but it feels all right. Yeah, I get nervous just like at the minute. So I wear glasses, right? Give you an example. I wear glasses. I've not had an eye test for a little while, and just booking an eye test and like committing to go to an optician's and have my eyes tested. I've been thinking about doing it for months, and it's so hard for me to do it. Why? Little things. It's so strange. So how the hell am I gonna do in Japan on my own? I'm going on my own. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, America. I know it's not in the top 3 maybe, but America's there's a lot that we can do there, I'm sure. I've got a little plan, I've got a little map saved on Google Maps. One of my, I love spending time on Street View, just looking at stuff. And one of the maps I've got saved on there is a tour of America, doing basically touring from the racetracks, like starting in California, up the West Coast, and then along, or maybe starting at the West Coast and going down, I'm not sure yet, but basically just doing a tour of America and finishing off at Sebring, finishing off in Florida. But yeah, there's so much I feel like I could spend a year there doing stuff easy. I really want to get a certain car as well, a Crown Vic. I really want to get a Crown Vic. A police interceptor spec, Crown Vic. So maybe when we go to Japan, we'll buy a Japanese car. Maybe it's like a key car or something to get started with, but we can go to Japan, buy a Japanese car, do some track days, go to Australia, buy a ute or something with a barrow in it or something. Go to America, get my Crown Vic or a Corvette or something. Go to Ireland and get a Bora or a D-Turbo. Ireland's looking really good for rallying, so that's why I want to go there. And obviously Finland for the ice driving looks really good. There's so much stuff more than what we've already been doing. I've done so much in the UK. I feel like I've almost completed it. Obviously I haven't. There's still loads more I can do. And obviously rallying in the UK, there's loads of stuff to do. Yeah, just steering rack now. I feel like we might get advisory for that on the MOT. But not a lot I can do about that. Well, I could replace the steering rack, but we're not gonna. Look at that rusting already, nice. Yeah, I reckon America could go on forever. Yeah, there's but the thing with America is I feel like I'll want to be there for a long time. So I might just never come back. Right, so that's it from this video. So, you know, some news there for you, some future. It's hard with an audience. Right, well that's it from this video then. So we've hopefully solved all the rattles now on the 5 Series, and yeah, that's the plan for the future, or that's the outlook. You know, I'm not sure exactly how much stuff I can get done in a year, but I think we're going to start in the right place. So if nothing else, you know, Honda Civic racing videos shall continue, and that's a championship that I'm entering as well. I'm only doing the first, I've only entered the first round, but my name's already on the list, and it looks really mad seeing my name on that list. I'll hopefully put it on the screen there for you. So that's the entry list. So yeah, that's confirmed, that's happening. Honda Civic racing videos shall remain. So if you love them, well, you know, it's going to be a bit different over there as well. It's the race format's slightly different. You don't get 2 races. Over here we get a qualifying and 2 races. Over there they have a practice, a qualifying, and then a 10-lap shootout. So it's not the same kind of racing, but it's still door-to-door Civic racing. And like I say, we'll be in an EK9. We'll be in a class which is just for B16s. So we'll be able to get some of those B series juices flowing as well. It's going to be good, and there's loads of stuff I can do in Japan, and I'd like to do a bit of drifting as well. I'm also signed up for a key car race as well, which is actually the week after the Civic race. So there's already plenty of stuff planned. I really want to buy a car from the auction. I think that'll be quite fun. Currently working out insurance and stuff, but I think it'd be nice to once we're done in Osaka, I'll get there with the words, don't worry. Once we're done in that area, going to Tokyo, I want to try and have a car then that I can conduct future travels from Japan and maybe do some track dating and stuff. And I'd like to buy that car from the auction. I think that would be quite cool. If not, we'll just maybe, you know, rent some stuff here and there. And I'm sure it'll be a good time regardless. And then obviously the world's the oyster now, and, you know, these gloomy barn videos, you might not see another one for a while. I mean, what else? I've still got to do some stuff. I want to try and get as much of this in order as I can before I go, and have a good tidy up before I go as well, right? So that when I come back, everything's just, you know, how I left it, and no one will have borrowed any of my tools or done anything like that with it. You know, I'm sure everything will be just as I left it. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what the future's looking like. So, yeah. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I don't think anyone can be negative. Can anyone be negative about any of that? So yeah, that's what the year is probably going to look like. I'm definitely going to look like. We're going to Japan, right? Mic drop. But first, kebab.